Government cutbacks and restructuring are changing the way rural services are being provided. Many Canadians have taken it upon themselves to step up and volunteer their time in order to provide services to their communities. By volunteering, rural Canadians across the country are making important contributions to their town and to their neighbors. But still, providing rural services is no cakewalk, and for most of those involved, the process is both rewarding and challenging. The major challenge facing volunteer groups is tied directly to the small size of the communities they're trying to serve. Small towns, by their very nature, do not have a large population from which to build. This means that building a huge army of volunteers is nearly impossible, and sources of funding may be hard to come by. For these rural volunteer groups, ambitious projects might seem daunting, and burnout and exhaustion could threaten the whole operation. These challenges of size and funding are not going to be solved alone. Success for those groups trying to provide rural services lies in their ability to integrate other community members into their projects and to cooperate with like-minded businesses and community organizations. This is exactly what's happened in Tweed, Ontario, and the open-minded approach is paying off. Located on the route between Toronto and Ottawa, Tweed is the gateway to Eastern Ontario's Land O'Lakes tourist region. While it used to rely upon the manufacturing and public service industries, these have been in decline, and tourism is now seen as an alternative for economic development. The Tweed Chamber of Commerce was formed in 2002 to highlight the comfortable, slow-paced appeal of the town to the many urban dwellers in Ontario and beyond. One of the approaches that's been popular with volunteer groups is a board of directors, and this has certainly been a key to the Chamber of Commerce's success. Led by an elected, voluntary president, the board of directors plays an important organizing and guiding role.
Well, there are many benefits that a board of directors can bring to a voluntary group. These can include access to a wider network of people and groups for communications and a wider information base for decision making. They can broaden options for fundraising, for soliciting community support, and they can provide sources of additional ideas and advice to help the group carry out its role. Boards also provide a training ground for leadership development and for mentoring the next generation of the community's leaders.
Establishing a board of directors has long proven to be a valuable approach for volunteer groups across the country, but there's also something to be said for a little innovation. The Chamber of Commerce has been open to the idea of partnerships. Not many groups try to establish partnerships with like-minded organizations, but it's an approach that's brought great benefits to Tweed. The Chamber of Commerce has partnered with the Comfort Country Tourism Development Agency, and this has gained the town exposure through maps and business directories distributed across the province. The Comfort Country partnership has really helped Tweed establish itself as a tourist destination. This important pairing has also led to an additional partnership with the federal government to revitalize the downtown core. And relationships with other local groups, like the Youth Council, local economic development groups, and the Heritage Center, have allowed the community's volunteer groups to provide mutual support in areas of common interest.
Why are partnerships valuable to voluntary organizations? Well, partnerships provide a wide range of benefits to voluntary groups. Some of these include access to additional human resources, access to supports like office space and equipment, access to technical services or information. Partnerships also let groups work together more closely and effectively on things like fundraising, public information campaigns, training, and even things like the access to and maintenance of computer systems and software. Groups can also work together on larger projects, community infrastructure, things like rebuilding a community playground.
A board of directors and strong partnerships can help a volunteer group make a substantial contribution to their community. But the legitimacy and accountability that these two approaches can provide will also help an organization attract the attention of those with money to share. When applying for funding, a board of directors is often required and almost unanimously encouraged. Partnerships are equally attractive as governments look to make up for funding cutbacks by partnering with volunteer groups. Those with partnerships are more likely to have government funding, and partnerships are essentially a requirement in order to gain access to corporate funding.
Everyone, I believe, has a gift and a capacity, and the role of the board of directors and myself as chair is trying to find the role that everyone can play to be an active and eager participant in the chamber. I find that when you have an active group and you have other people, as my vice president said, it's good that when I'm down, you're up, and when you're down, I'm up. And that's the way it should work. So the more people and the more expertise you can get, the better off we'll be.
What's working in Tweed is very much reflective of what's working across the country. While filling service gaps can be a challenging process, a board of directors and strong partnerships with groups both within and outside the community have proven to be successful strategy in serving rural communities. These approaches empower volunteer groups and allow rural Canadians to receive the type of services they need in order to support a vibrant community.